Hello again, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Jersey Hoops here on MSGVarsity.com. I'm Lou Brogno. Mike Kinney is alongside, and we are at the Rutgers Athletic Center. The TOC semifinals just completed, and we now know who will vie for New Jersey's state championship next Tuesday at the Izod Center. It will be Plainfield against St. Anthony. And Mike, I guess all in all, in the end, no surprise with this matchup coming up on Tuesday.
Yeah, definitely not a surprise. No, these were two teams that were picked early in the season to win non-public B and win Group 3, and this is the rematch of last year's. Plainfield, the way they've been playing the last month or so, there was no surprise that they were on a mission to get here. And St. Anthony, we knew. There was no question about it. It was going to be St. Anthony in this final against someone else. And certainly a couple weeks into the season, it looked like Plainfield was capable of doing it.
Well, both Plainfield and St. Anthony certainly impressive here in the semifinals. Plainfield winning big over St. Joe's Metuchen, and some people were surprised. The Cardinals certainly, though, played up to their ability tonight, as they were terrific from start to finish.
I think it's definitely a surprise. I think everybody thought this was going to be a closer game. It looked like St. Joe's matched up very well with Plainfield, and you know what? In the first quarter, they did. 19-17. What I was concerned of on St. Joe's behalf was, since they didn't play on Wednesday, that maybe they'd be a little rusty, maybe they'd be a little nervous. This is their first time in the Tournament of Champions. Plainfield did play on Wednesday, and I thought that was going to give them a little bit of an edge, you know, and plus they played last year. But in the first quarter, it didn't look that way. St. Joe's came ready to play. Quentin DeCozy had a very good first quarter and gave Jamal Lane a tough time. Jamal Lane was covering him. 19-17. Second quarter, though, Plainfield got out, got some runouts. Jamal Lane got hot. Little pull-up jumper on the break. St. Joe's got in a little foul trouble. Plainfield took control. That was the surprise, that after St. Joe's played so well in the first quarter, Plainfield just took over in the second quarter.
So the Cardinals move on to the championship game, and afterwards, their outstanding senior, Siku Harris, he talked about taking on St. Anthony in the TOC final.
We have to play hard. You know, St. Anthony is always going to bring that air game. Playing against Coach Hurley, you know, he's always going to have some type of tricks up his sleeve. But our team works hard. We play with each other since second grade. We have a lot of chemistry, and just playing against St. Anthony is going to be a tough task. And to me, they're not better than us. They just last game we just started off slow. They only beat us by 12. They slowed the ball down. But if they play at our pace, there's no team that can beat us.
So Siku Harris talking about taking on St. Anthony, and of course it will be the Friars moving on to the championship, and they had absolutely no problem with Atlantic City.
They had no problem whatsoever. We didn't really expect them to have a problem. I mean, they had no problem with Gil St. Bernard's.
Right.
You know, they had no problem along the way with a lot of great teams. With Hudson Catholic, no problem. So I expected Atlantic City. What Atlantic City did, that was expected. They played feisty. They played tough. They never gave up. And credit to Atlantic City, because they never put their heads down on this one. But you know what? St. Anthony is such a tremendous defense. We're not talking about a good St. Anthony defense. We're talking about what Bob Hurley said, not what Mike Kinney says. Bob Hurley says this is statistically the best defense he's ever coached. I've seen some very good St. Anthony defenses. If Bob Hurley says this is his best defense, how are you going to score against them? And you know what? I mean, Gil scored 39, 42 for Atlantic City, though, you know, a lot of those points were in the fourth quarter against a lot of the St. Anthony reserves. These guys clamp up and play defense, you know, get their nose on the ball like no one, maybe perhaps in the state of New Jersey, maybe ever in the state of New Jersey.
All right, so the Friars move on to the championship game, and afterwards Kyle Anderson talked about taking on a very familiar opponent in the last game of the season.
For Tuesday night, we just have to be prepared for them, be ready for what they're going to bring, come with intensity, and, you know, work hard the next few days to get prepared for them.
All right, so it's scene is set. Plainfield will take on St. Anthony at the Izod Center on Tuesday night. Let's dive into this game a little bit. Mike, how do you see this game, and what are the keys really for both teams to claim victory and a state championship?
I think a key right away, Lou, is Plainfield's got to prove they can score against this St. Anthony team. This is basically the same team that played St. Anthony last year, this Plainfield team, man for man. So they feel confident they can. They wanted this matchup. To the man, Plainfield said, we wanted St. Anthony in a Tournament of Champions final. We didn't want to backdoor it. We didn't want somebody else. We wanted St. Anthony. But they have to prove they can score. A lot of teams who thought they could score against St. Anthony this year have proven they could not. St. Anthony is that good defensively. So that's important. Plainfield start. Now, Plainfield had a great start against St. Joe's. They did not have a great start against Asbury Park in the quarterfinals. They did not have a great start against Neptune. in the group championship. So they must do that. They've got to get out, and Sekou's got to handle the ball against that kind of pressure and get the ball to his wings. Jamal Lane's got to get started, and Justin Sears has to prove that he can get something going in the middle. That's the key. Can they score early? We know Plainfield's going to come tough. We know Plainfield is experienced, but they still have to prove it against the St. Anthony team.
So it's the matchup a lot of people anticipated and certainly are looking forward to in the state championship game. Plainfield taking on St. Anthony. And we invite you to log on to msgvarsity.com, where you can find Mike's columns and articles leading up to the TOC final on Tuesday. And, of course, if you can't make it out to the game, follow Mike on Twitter, and he'll be tweeting all through the game.
Absolutely. You can't stop my tweets, St. Anthony. You might be able to stop the ball, but you can't stop those.
There you go. And so we invite you to join us leading up to the game. And, of course, next week we'll wrap up the 2011-2012 high school basketball season. That's coming up next week right here on msgvarsity.com. That's the story here at the Rack. St. Anthony wins, Plainfield wins. They head to the TOC final. For Mike Kinney, I'm Lou Brogno. We'll see you next week right here on Jersey Hoops on msgvarsity.com.